The video opens with a temperature reading, 35 degrees Celsius. The outdoor temperature that afternoon was 28. The house being measured was not old or poorly maintained. It was a 3-bedroom new build completed 2 years ago, fully insulated to modern standards, with double glazing throughout. The reading was taken in the master bedroom at 9 in the evening. This is not a story about a broken house. It is a story about how modern UK new builds are designed to trap heat and why nobody in the sales office mentions it. I was the one holding the digital thermometer that night. I watched the numbers climb, waiting for them to settle, but they stopped at 35 degrees. This wasn't an abandoned greenhouse. This was an ordinary master bedroom, located in a 2-year-old development. There were no cracked walls, no broken seals, and no heating left on by mistake. The home is completely standard, built to satisfy every modern building regulation, packed with thick mineral wool insulation and double glazed windows. It represents the baseline of contemporary British volume house building, and that is exactly the problem. The heat isn't escaping because the house is broken, it's trapped because the building is working exactly as designed. Standard clear double glazing in modern UK new builds allows about 63% of the sun's raw heat energy to pass straight through the glass and enter our rooms. In winter, this solar gain serves as a free, natural source of warmth. It is why major developers design homes with massive, floor-to-ceiling windows, marketing these south and west-facing living spaces as bright, modern, and flooded with natural daylight. But in summer, those beautiful sales features become giant, unswitchable radiators. I stood in the living room of a nearby estate on an afternoon when it was 26 degrees outside. The space was dominated by a standard 4 square metre, west-facing window, designed to make the room feel open and bright. Because of the loud, constant street noise outside, the family had to keep the window firmly shut. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, with the central heating completely switched off and the family out for the day, the temperature inside that room had climbed to 32 degrees. There is no mechanical failure or hidden defect here. It is simple building physics. Sunlight enters the room as shortwave radiation, hits the floor and furniture, and converts into long-wave heat that cannot pass back out through the glass panes. The glass does the work. By midnight, the sun has been down for hours, but I found the master bedroom on the top floor still sitting at 33 degrees. This persistent heat is the direct result of a sealed building envelope. To cut winter heating bills, modern regulations mandate extreme airtightness. A typical new build has an air leakage rate of under 0.6 air changes per hour, while an older house sits around 5 air changes per hour. Behind the plasterboard, the walls and lofts are packed with up to 150 millimeters of mineral wool insulation. In December, this dense barrier keeps expensive heating inside, but during a summer heatwave, it does the exact same job in reverse, blocking the captured solar heat from escaping back into the cool night air. The building envelope cannot distinguish between warmth we want to keep and heat we need to release. It retains everything. On June 15th, 2022, the UK government introduced Approved Document O, known as Part O, establishing the first formal summer overheating regulations in British building history. Before this date, a developer could build a home without ever calculating how hot it might get in July. Part O changed this, but only for properties designed after its launch. To pass, developers must choose one of 2 compliance paths. The simplified method uses basic checklists to limit glazing area and mandate minimum openable window sizes, but it relies entirely on historical weather data, ignoring future climate projections. For complex designs, builders must use dynamic thermal modelling, a computer simulation of hourly indoor temperatures. While this regulation is a major step, it exposes a massive regulatory gap. Part O does not apply retroactively. It offers no protection for the millions of homes built during the massive volume housing boom of the previous decade. Between 2010 and 2022, During the height of the government's Help to Buy scheme, over 1.2 million new build homes were delivered across the UK. Every single one of those houses was designed and sold with zero legal obligation to assess summer comfort. They were optimised solely for winter warmth, leaving a generation of buyers with highly efficient winter homes that are legally permitted to become summer ovens. My own thermometer was just one data point. To see how far this pattern spreads, I looked at a sensor dataset from 40 new build homes across southeast England during a warm spell in the summer of 2024. The findings were clear. On days when the outdoor temperature reached a comfortable 26 degrees, the average peak indoor temperature across these 40 homes was 31.4 degrees. In 15 of those 40 properties, bedroom temperatures remained above 28 degrees at midnight, the exact threshold where human sleep quality measurably degrades. For 6 families in the study, their indoor temperature never dropped below 30 degrees for over 72 consecutive hours during a 6-day warm period. These numbers translate directly to a brutal daily reality. I spoke with residents who now live with their blinds permanently drawn, turning their bright, open homes into dark caves just to survive the afternoon. They avoid their own kitchens during daylight because running an oven or a hob makes the heat unbearable. At night, some sleep with wet towels draped over their bodies, trying to coax their core temperatures down in rooms that feel like saunas. This is the lived experience inside properties sold at full market value, marketed as the very standard of modern, energy-efficient design. Homeowners bought into the promise of low energy bills and bright, airy spaces, only to find themselves paying premium prices for properties that actively hoard heat. They are trapped in houses where basic summer comfort has been completely engineered out, forced to develop survival strategies in their own living rooms. I wanted to find a straightforward fix for these families, but the practical remedies are frustratingly limited. The most effective passive solution is external shading, installing shutters, awnings, or brise-soleil on the outside of the building. This can block up to 70% of solar gain before the heat ever reaches the glass. By contrast, internal blinds only manage glare. They do nothing to stop heat once it is already inside. But retrofitting external shading is rarely simple. Many homeowners find themselves blocked by planning restrictions, removed permitted development rights, or strict management company agreements. Air conditioning works, but installing a system can cost £5,000 to £8,000 and spikes electricity bills. Even the simplest option, opening windows to create cross-ventilation, is often completely undermined by modern single-aspect layouts or street noise. Underneath every overheated room lies a singular, winter-first design logic. British volume builders package extreme air tightness, thick insulation, and massive double-glazed windows to hit strict winter energy targets, while satisfying a buyer preference for bright, daylight-flooded interiors. Yet summer performance was assessed by absolutely nobody. No local planning authority ever asked what the room temperature would actually be in July, and no sales representative ever mentioned the risk in their pitches. The energy rating on the sales brochure tells you exactly how warm the house stays in winter, but there is no rating for how hot it gets in summer. As I stand in these sweltering rooms, the trade-off is clear. The energy rating on the brochure tells you how warm the house stays in winter, but there is no rating for how hot it gets in summer. There should be.